Hey everyone, this is Beverly, aka your public speaking mentor, and the video that you are about to watch is of a presentation that I gave to a local Toastmasters group this year. In it, I explain my process for refining, editing, and even writing my speeches. This is just a high-level view of my entire process. If you are interested in a more detailed, granular level view into each of these steps, let me know in the comments below. Also, if you get any value from this at all, do me a favor and click that like button, because by simply clicking the like button, this video can get put in front of other people who may find it useful, and they can click the like button and they can be put in front of even more people who think that it's useful, and the cycle just keeps going and going. But it all starts with you watching right now. All in all, thank you for watching this. Hope you enjoy it. And without further ado, let's get to the video.
Today, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go through the process, how to prepare your speech. I commonly get asked, Aaron, how can I go about creating my speech? My answer is usually it's going to take some time. Very rarely do I create a speech out of the blue in one sitting. Speeches are a process. It will take time to craft a quality speech. Now, the question is, what process can you follow to make your own presentation? Well, today, my objective is to share with you my process. This is a process that I used to win the World Championship of Public Speaking, but it's also a process that I use for all of my presentations, whether it be for a Toastmasters event, whether it be for a work event, whether it be for a professional speaking engagement. This is a process that I use all the time. And by sharing it with you today, I hope that you can take away something so that you can include it in your own process. The first step of the process is what I call the golden rule. This is the one rule that if you take away nothing else, please remember this rule. KYA. Know your audience. This is the golden rule. You can totally bomb a presentation. You can do absolutely horrible in a presentation before you even say a word, all because you decided to practice for the wrong audience or prepare a speech for the wrong audience. Now, I'm just going to use this as an example. Do not think about this as my own political affiliation. But if you are a Democrat and a staunch Democrat, you don't want to speak about something that is a Republican value to an audience that is filled with Democrats. And on the other hand, if you are a Republican and you are speaking to a Republican audience, you do not want to talk about Democratic values, because that is not the audience that you are presenting in front of. So know your audience. Basic ways that you can know your audience. The simplest way is to ask. People who you know are going to be in the audience, ask them, what do you want to get out of this presentation? What type of information do you want to see? What way do you want to see it? Do you like graphs? Do you like PowerPoints? Are you a person who just wants to hear stories? You can also ask people who have had experience with that audience. In the past, I've had experiences where I didn't know the audience too well, so I asked someone who had a little bit more experience than I did with that type of audience, and they were able to provide me the information that I needed. Another way, if you are a professional speaker or you are speaking at a professional event, you can always ask the organizer. The organizer of the event should have key information such as the demographic and the background of your audience. But again, golden rule, KYA, know your audience. Now, the next step is to brainstorm your topic. A lot of us have issues with finding things to talk about. Talking about something is not that difficult. You just simply have to sit down and think about what it is you can present. If you are a Toastmaster and you are to give a Toastmaster speech, you have a bit more free reign about what you can talk about. So the sky is the absolute limit for what you can talk about. You can talk about yourself, you can talk about a product that you are looking to create, or you can give tips and advice like I'm giving you right now. But the topic is sky to the limit for what you can talk about. Now, if you are in a work scenario, then the topic is going to be selected for you. You're not going to have to think too hard about what to talk about. It will just fall into your lap. And usually, if you are asked to speak on this topic, it's usually because people see you as the subject matter expert. Another acronym, and it's pronounced DETOX. This stands for, what do you want the audience to do, think, or know? I call it my do, think, or know summary. This is a summary of what you specifically want your audience to do, think, or know by the time you are done speaking. When you do this, you need to summarize it in 10 words or less. Why do you want to do this? When you are writing out your summary, this is going to serve as your central message. This is going to be what your entire presentation is built around. If you cannot summarize this in 10 words, that means that you are going to run the risk of losing focus in your speech. The reason why I spell this acronym like this is because I want it to be pronounced as DETOX. And just how you have a body detox that keeps the junk out of your body, this detox is going to keep the junk out of your speech. If you have a piece of content that you really love, but it doesn't fit that central message, that piece of content does not go into your presentation. However, if you have a piece of content that is going to enhance it, then of course you are going to include it into your presentation. So you want to make sure that you mollify your speech and ensure that you have your speech detox. The next one is to simply write out your script. Now, this is something that I do all the time, but I don't do it in the traditional way every single time. I want you to do this activity with me. Find your phone. If you have an iPhone or Android, this will absolutely work for you, but go to any application where you can type in text. Once you find that application and you are beginning to type, your keyboard will pop up. Next to the spacebar, to the left side of your spacebar, there is a small microphone. When you press that microphone, the phone will go into voice to text mode. This is a way that you can actually talk out your presentation. This is a great way to not start with a blank page because you can just talk it out. And by the time you are done talking, you will have content that you can start to edit. Now, one key tip is that when you are doing this, you are not going to be able to add punctuation unless you say the actual punctuation mark. For instance, period. Now my phone just typed in a period. It works for all of the other punctuation marks as well. A little bit of an unnatural way to speak and give your presentation, but trust me, it is a great way to not start with a blank page. But once I write out my script, I'm going to audio record myself reading that script verbatim. And when I'm reading that script verbatim, I am going to include all of the vocal tonality that I intend to use for my final audience, all of the pacing. This way, I can go to the next step, a step that a lot of people hate: listening to yourself. Listen to the recording. It means absolutely nothing if you record yourself and don't listen to the presentation. There are people who will actually record their speeches and not listen to it. A lot of people don't like the sound of their voice. That's perfectly fine. But here's something that I want you to do. Really quick, everybody take your index finger, point it to your chest right now. I want you to repeat after me. This is my voice. This is my recording. This is how I sound. Deal with it. Thank you very much for your participation. But listening to yourself, you will be able to hear all of your own mistakes. You will be able to become your own evaluator. Which leads me to the next step. The next step is to rewrite, record, re-listen, repeat. Basically, you are going to repeat the last 3 steps. You are going to edit your presentation based off of what you heard when you listened to the recording. Then you are going to record yourself reading those edits. You are going to listen to that recording again, and you are going to repeat it again and again and again and again until you can get to the next step, which is to tape in front of a live studio audience. Now, this is a bit of a twofer. You're going to add 2 steps in this process, but naturally, you are going to want to watch yourself when you have video recorded yourself giving a presentation. The reason why you want to do this is similar to why you want to listen to yourself in the audio recording. You want to be able to see what you are doing on stage. When you are video recording yourself, you can see if you have any of those distracting movements. You can see if you're a person who likes to wander around on stage, or you can see if you are a person who likes to play with their hands or put their hands in their pocket, jiggle their keys. All of that good stuff you will be able to see. But in addition to that, you'll also be able to hear the audience reaction live. Now, this obviously will be more useful when you are giving a presentation in front of a live audience in person. But when you give your presentation, the audience will react. If you intended for them to react, that's going to be some positive feedback for you that you can try to replicate for a different audience when you practice it down the line. If you had something that you thought was absolutely hilarious, but when you delivered the line, you got nothing but crickets, that's going to be an indicator for you to work on that content a bit more. That leads us to step number 9. Step number 9 is to apply the feedback with caution. One of my favorite quotes about feedback came from the 2001 world champion, Darren LaCroix. Darren LaCroix says, everybody can tell you how your presentation or how your speech made them think or feel. Everybody cannot tell you how to improve your speech. Feedback is critical, but you want to make sure that you are filtering it properly. The favorite filter that I have for my feedback is what I call my circle of counsel. This is a small group of people whose opinions I truly trust. They will listen to my presentation and they will give me feedback. They have just as much authority over my speech as I do. So I will always rely on my circle of counsel, my trusted advisors and mentors. Lastly, you want to set a cutoff date for your edits. This is critical because you don't want to have an occasion where you make a last-minute edit and then you give the presentation and all of a sudden your brain is conflicting. It's thinking about the one version that you had, but it's conflicting with the new version that you had, and now you're just all a mess. Don't run that risk. I say stop editing at least 2 days before your presentation. Then what do you do after that? Well, if you follow this process, you should have a quality audio recording. You should have a quality video recording. Watch and listen to those over and over again so that you can go on stage and dominate your next presentation. That, ladies and gentlemen, is my process. Hopefully, you'll be able to take some of these steps and apply them to your own processes. Thank you very much.